Tenet. Are you still confused? Christopher Nolan's 11th feature film, Tenet, became the first major Hollywood film to release in theaters amidst the coronavirus pandemic. From Inception to Dark Knight trilogy, Nolan never fails to deliver thrills and headaches. But he's a sly filmmaker, making as many details as concealed until the very last moment. Anyway, spoilers ahead. What's the deal with Tenet? Tenet follows John David Washington, a CIA agent looking for a MacGuffin during a terror attack at the Cave Opera. His life is saved by a mysterious figure in black who kills a henchman with a bullet that travels backwards. Wait, is that even possible? But he's captured and his cover is blown, so he takes a cyanide pill to keep his information secret. Apparently, it was a test, and his boss explains that he has to join Tenet. After intense and sweaty exercises in the windmill, he meets Laura, who tasks him with delivering something time travel-ish, like the inverted bullet. Curious fellow Washington traces the inverted bullets to the arms dealer in Mumbai. But he needs a sidekick first, and what better sidekick is there than the emo vampire guy? Anyway, they bungee jump to the dealer's lair, where they learn 3 facts. First, the dealer Priya is a hot lady. Second, she knows about Tenet. And third, she sold the bullets to the villain Sator, who is acting as the future's representative in its war on the present. Wait, war between the present and the future? In a separate scene, Michael explains that the way to get the Sator is through his lovely wife, Kat. He gives Washington a fake painting and have him meet cute. It works, and Kat tells him every little detail in her life, like what girls do, and says she saw a mysterious woman jump off the boat. Thinking it was his mistress, she envied her for her freedom and her ability to click the thumbs up button on our video. Then comes some action scenes with a cheese grater. They had an agreement to steal a painting and organize a way to break in by using a crashing plane. But before they could do the stealing, 2 masked guys, one moving backwards and one moving forwards, appear from a mysterious portal in Sator's vault. How rude of them to barge in! Well, they got away, and the painting was gone, leaving them to wonder how Sator anticipated this. Both go back to Priya, and being the know-it-all that she is, she explains that the device in the vault was an invention from the future called a turnstile. It allows people to invert themselves and travel backwards in time. Also, they figured Sator was the mastermind behind the attack at the opera and still hunting for the MacGuffin. Washington gets on Sator's good side, first by dropping an opera reference, then saving his life, and finally by offering to help him commit crime. Nice. Sator also gives us the juicy details on his backstory. Ooh, gossip. Turns out he grew up at an abandoned Soviet nuclear facility where he discovered gold and a message from the future saying that you should subscribe to HoOked Up. Just kidding. Or are we? So Washington and Neil successfully pull off a highway heist, only to discover the MacGuffin is something time-related, unlike their expected plutonium. Sator's group shows up and ensues a car chase, wearing oxygen masks that are nowhere near fashionable, and inverted Sator threatens to shoot Kat unless they give him the encased MacGuffin, which he does. That's another red flag there, dear. At the same time, an inverted silver car uncrashes and joins the chase. Washington saves Kat, but both end up captured, so Neil calls in the cavalry. Washington wakes up next to another turnstile, where inverted Sator says that the MacGuffin wasn't in the case and asks where it is. He refuses to tell, so inverted Sator reverse shoots Kat with an inverted bullet. But Washington lies and says that he hid it in his car. Just then, a forward version of Sator enters, but before anything else, he's chased into the turnstile by troops led by Ives. Ives revealed that he and his troops are prosperity soldiers from the future working for Tenet. I can feel my blood draining. Washington wonders how Sator predicts everything, and Ives explained he's actually sending half of their henchmen forward and half backwards in time, executing a temporal pincher movement. Washington has an idea of following Sator through the turnstile, so he can get the McDonald's MacGuffin and Kat won't die. So he steps through it and goes backwards in time, then steps into a car outside, which is the same car that was in the chase earlier. He replays the car chase in reverse, but this time we see something we didn't. The MacGuffin leaping out of the silver car and into forward Washington's hands, meaning he threw it to his inverted self in the silver car. I'm gonna throw up from all this plot density. The car then crashes, in the same crash we saw in reverse earlier. And while inverted Washington is trying to escape, inverted Sator sets the car aflame. Except, instead of getting burned, he only gets hypothermia. So he wakes up in an airlocked container ship, where Neil, Kat, and some others are all traveling in reverse a week back in time to the Oslo airport to get themselves going forward again using a turnstile. On a side note, it seems Sator's team has the MacGuffin. Oh no! Back to Oslo, they sneak in when the plane crashes, like my Google Chrome's browser, into the airport. Washington gets into the turnstile, after which he fights past Neil, who figures out that he's future Washington, but keeps the secret from past Washington because it would have been too much for his brain cells. Wish Nolan thought the same. Washington catches up with Priya again, and this time she tells him that the MacGuffin is actually one of 9 that form the algorithm, which has the power to invert half the planet and end existence. Speaking of algorithms, we have a bell icon as well. Press it for a real-life mind-boggling algorithm. Anyway, the algorithm's parts are sent back in time, hiding them around the globe. But Sator has assembled all 9 pieces and is about to set them off. But where? When? Why? Apparently, Sator is suffering from terminal cancer and is going back in time to find a happy memory to die in. What's more, he's got an evil thingamabob that will trigger the algorithm to go off at his last moment. So what's his happiest memory? They realized it was a yacht trip to Vietnam, which happened to take place at the time of the opera attack and an unexplained explosion at the abandoned Soviet nuclear facility he grew up in. Before they get going, Washington gives Kat a phone and tells to call him for prosperity when she feels unsafe. Then they split up. Kat sneaks aboard the yacht and pretends to be her past self, stalling the version of Sator who arrives there to kill himself. Meanwhile, Washington, Neil, and the Tenet army will attack the abandoned nuclear facility and disassemble the algorithm. They form 2 groups, Team Edward and Team Jacob. Or should I say, the Red Team and the Blue Team. Red Team's Washington and Ives are supposed to go underground to where the algorithm is, and take it before it can be triggered with a bomb. Blue Team's Neil is supposed to be inverted with the rest, but he decides to go rogue and uninverts, then reinverts himself multiple times during the battle. Then there's some shooting and a lot of explosions and other cool stuff parents don't want kids to see. In Vietnam, future Kat arrives on the yacht after past Kat has left with her son and past Sator has flown off. She also successfully convinces him that she's her past self. In Russia, traveling backwards through the battle, inverted Neil sees the henchman setting up a trap wire to where the algorithm is, so he uninverts himself and tries to warn Washington and Ives. They don't hear and set it off, burying their path. They keep going, but their path is blocked by a locked gate. On the other side are a henchman, the algorithm, the bomb, and the Blue Team corpse. In Vietnam, Sator calls up Washington on a walkie. In Russia, as the bomb counts down and the henchman's about to shoot Washington, the Blue Team corpse springs to life like My Chemical Romance's comeback, blocks the bullet, opens the gate, then runs away in reverse. Thank you, random corpse. In Vietnam, Kat reveals she's not past Kat, she's future Kat, and shoots Sator. See you later, Saturgator. Or perhaps not. In Russia, Washington and Ives take the algorithm as the bomb is about to explode, but Neil pulls them out before the explosion. He must be a master of the pull-out method, ladies. In Vietnam, Kat is now happy, cause who needs men? So she jumps off the yacht in victory, and her past self sees her and admires her freedom. Familiar? In Russia, Washington, Neil, and Ives separate the algorithm into 3 parts and plan to split up. Ives suggests that they each bury their part, then kill themselves to avoid giving the locations. Neil gives his parts to Washington and reveals that they've known each other for years, from his perspective. Dun dun dun! Future Washington was the one who recruited past Pattinson into the Tenet organization. Well, thanks for the highly dangerous job, boss. At least I got paid well. Neil heads back to the turnstile, and Washington noticed that his backpack is the same as Dora's. I mean, the corpse that opened the gate and saved him. And same as his opera house savior. Sometime later, Kat is dropping her son off at school when she feels danger and calls Washington. She's right, since Priya is about to shoot her to keep Tenet secret. But before things get messy, future Washington travels to that time and place and shoots Priya first, revealing that he's the mastermind behind the entire operation. Maybe I should ask him to organize my brain operation after this video. And that's Tenet. It's a wrap. Did your brain hurt? Mine did. What are your theories on the ending? feel free to comment down below. Also, check out 7 reasons why you should watch Tenet now. Thank you and have a nice day.